going on in Venezuela. I invite everyone to see what's going on in Venezuela.
All right, that was Juan Guaido, the president we recognize as the leader of Venezuela. Obviously, the regime in power feels a little bit differently, telling Trish Regan that those who wonder about where socialism can go might want to go to Venezuela to see the impact. Emma Meshell says Democrats risk going too far left by pushing that and ignoring the fact that this was one of once the richest per capita countries on the planet. Lost all that money and all that influence, all that is now gone. Very good to have you, Emma. What do you think of what he was essentially saying? Come to Venezuela to see the not so ripe fruits of that labor.
Yes, well, Guaido is much better qualified to talk about socialism than any 2020 candidate or, frankly, anyone in America, because he's seen it firsthand and he understands. He's seen people starving, not being able to do dialysis because there's no electricity. And I wish that young people were paying attention to his comments rather than their liberal professors who say things like Venezuela's irrevocably free or Venezuela is better off under socialism. This is causing students to take on a skewed view of socialism, and they're taking it with them to the voting booth.
You know, Emma, I'm curious, though, that when you don't mention socialism, the term socialism, and instead talk about, you know, medical benefits for life or free college or, you know, a mortgage handled by other folks, just not you, it does sound very, very appealing. When you slap the label socialism on it, a little less so.
Yeah.
But that's what's proving to be very appealing. But we've learned in the case of Venezuela, the governments that promise you everything you want can eventually take away everything you have.
It's so true, and you're exactly right with that. Students like to take socialism at face value. They like these ideas that the Democrats are peddling, like Medicare for all, tuition-free college, and the Green New Deal. But our own Cabot Phillips went and interviewed students and asked them about the Green New Deal. They all said, yes, we love it at face value, and that's the bad news. But the good news here is that when he pushed students and said, okay, well, are you willing to give up air travel? Are you willing to give up electricity and heat? They said, no, we're not willing to do that. That's impossible. So there is a chance here to educate students on these issues, but we have to be moving that forward. Otherwise, they're not going to understand the movements that they're signing up for.
All right, but a lot of those kids also, I don't mean to disparage say kids, but young people, of course, when you get to be my age, everyone's a kid. But one of the things I've discovered is that people then will say, well, we don't want a situation where it's so tilted and so extreme that the rich control all the wealth and poor middle class people do not. So maybe socialism is a response to those chasms. What do you think?
Well, really what they don't understand here is that socialism gives more power to the powerful. It gives all of that control to the government, which, as we know, can't be taken back. Capitalism is the only system that really leaves that power in the hands of the people. It gives us the ability to engage in free markets and pursue what we want to do with our lives. And really, students don't know that. They're not being taught the facts about capitalism and free markets in general. And if they were educated on that, I think that they would take on a much different view of socialism.
Well put. Very well put. Good having you. Thanks for coming on.
Great to be here, Neil.
All right. Yesterday we had former Bernie Sanders staffer Tezza de Vergara